What is that one fact you know that always makes people respond, and why the fuck do you know that? Too late, but here it goes. Don't ever bury a dead body in an area without any vegetation. The high nitrogen content in our bodies helps plant to grow, and there will be a weird grassy patch at the top of burial site and anyone would be able to spot it. If you feed a human body to pigs, they will eat just about all of it except the teeth. Several murderers in rural areas have used this fact to their advantage. That you cannot burn toddlers alive in The Sims 4. Even if you make a building full of fire and put 7 toddlers in the burning building for hours. Possums eat ticks like we eat potato chips. They'll hoover up 5,000 ticks a week and never get Lyme disease themselves. That you can disembowel yourself if you lift weights that are too heavy. Happened to my high school gym teacher, said he's never felt anything quite like shitting out your intestines. The stringy things inside bananas are called phloem bundles. They allow the nutrients of the banana to travel the length of the fruit. They're kinda like the vascular system of the plant. Alcoholics decompose faster when they die. Source: was a crime scene cleaner. Edit: so I posted this last night while falling asleep, so here is some clarification. When people die they decompose, but people that are alcoholics will decompose faster than normal dead people. Why? I have no idea. It's been so long since I was in that line of work, I just remember enough stories and facts to stay interesting. Love y'all. The fox has many different vocalizations, including a mating call that sounds like the Hollywood representation of a woman being murdered in the middle of the night. In ancient Babylon, people would build their most valuable possessions, fine wine, among others, into the walls of their basement, which in the region was usually a naturally occurring cave, so when the taxman came he couldn't see it to count it. Ancient Egyptians used to shave off their eyebrows to mourn the death of their cats. Testicles explode when they finish, and they die, finish living with a bang. Why? KK makes 97% of the world's zippers. The heart, if perfused through the aorta with an appropriate solution, will beat for hours outside of the body. Polar bear liver has lethal concentrations of vitamin A. Mount Kilimanjaro is the tallest mountain with cell service. A human tooth has 36 calories. Wombats have cube poop. A lobster's brain is in its throat. If you're allergic to chocolate, you're usually allergic to cockroaches. Pythagoras from the Pythagorean theorem ran a cult, and another group came to come and murder him by locking him inside his house and setting it on fire. But instead he had his followers make a human ladder to escape the fire, but then abandoned them and they all died. He was murdered later that night, being chased by the group in a bean field. A Russian woman had a shit ton of triplets, twins, and quadruplets, with the same man totaling up to 69 children. Birds need gravity to swallow, so a bird in space would die very soon. Edit: I understand there's no oxygen in space, but by that logic humans couldn't survive in space either. I meant if they had space suits like humans do. A 2008 Prius can float, at least for short distances. Car was not damaged in any way. A nursing sperm whale's milk comes out in the consistency of cottage cheese, so the calf can eat it in the water. The first 1080p video on YouTube was the Muppets singing Bohemian Rhapsody. Eric Hartman, the top fighter ace of history, yoinked Hitler's hat. He was being given an award by Hitler himself and had gotten absolutely hammered just a few hours before. As in, he practically couldn't walk. So he's waiting to meet Hitler and be awarded a high honor, is completely drunk, and realizes he doesn't have his hat. So he reaches for the closest one, and it's a bit big. Hitler's Luftwaffe adjutant is just fucking appalled, but everyone else is laughing. The big guy with one ball isn't here yet, and Eric says that it was too big. Then he jokes about Hitler having a big head. He was actually drunk the third and final time he met Hitler too, And according to him, Hitler admitted to him that they had lost the war. So yeah. One time the best fighter pilot in history stole Hitler's hat because he was drunk. The male fuzza has a thorny penis which not only hurts females during mating, but makes it nearly impossible to escape while doing so even if it's forced. Owls have tube-shaped eyes, rather than spherical ones. This makes it difficult to move the eyes in their sockets, but is counteracted by the ability to rotate their heads 270 degrees in either direction. If you're a woman revolted by the smell of your guy's gym bag, but find yourself sometimes aroused by it, that's when you're ovulating. The machineal tree is the deadliest plant in human history. The fact that mushrooms are more genetically related to humans than they are to trees. You can rearrange the letters in Clint Eastwood to Old West action, no leftovers. That Denmark had an ad called "Do It for Denmark" to try and increase their population. Rat poison is actually an anticoagulant mixed with stuff like fiberglass. Because rats are always scraping and squeezing into stuff, they build up these minor injuries. The anticoagulant stops their blood from clotting properly and they internally hemorrhage to death. Since a human being is a lot bigger than a rat, rat poison is much less effective on us. Half of all bank robberies take place on a Friday. Bones can be some of the most effective and terrifying shrapnel, second only to liquid copper. Bones splinter when you put them in bombs, and can do horrific amounts of damage to soft tissues. Liquid copper, on the other hand, which is not that difficult to get in an explosion, can get through almost any armor like it's nothing. Learned that from a friend who did a tour in Iraq as an infantryman. On the 762nd digit of pi there are 6 nines in a row. If you want to burn down a building, put potato chips in a toaster with a trail leading from the toaster to other highly flammable things. The potato chips leave no residue and the toaster will pop back up after the chips catch fire, so there's no way to find the start of the fire. That Disney is the biggest importer of explosives in the world. Edit. This commercially they don't beat out the US Department of Defense. The first thing to form on human embryos is the asshole.